to us. Edelvine ghosts, rise up to us.
I hope you don't make me regret our decision to enroll you.
Simon, good morning. Jeff in Las Vegas.
Good morning.
Thanks for talking to me about Seance, man. I enjoyed it. What a great thriller. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Especially the dark castle logo that came up first. I went, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Talk about your crusty brand seal of approval. That is, I knew I was in for something with some good quality.
Well, I'm glad that made an impression, because actually I specifically requested, when Dark Castle came on to Seance, I specifically requested that we have the original Dark Castle logo on the movie, because I kind of saw Seance as being like an older style of film. And so I asked if we could use their retro logo, specifically the logo that I remember seeing in theaters.
Yes.
When I went to go see the House on Haunted Hill remake, like the original, gargoyle animation. And they actually went back, Kelly Gallagher at Dark Castle, who's a producer on the film, she actually went to like Warner Brothers, and they scanned like a new they had to like scan a new version of the logo and to create it for Seance, and it cost like $1,000. But
that's awesome though, man.
They were willing to do it. So
your directorial debut, that was great. That they went that extra miles. I just want to say, when I saw that, it just got me as a fan excited. So
yeah, no, I mean, I feel kind of the same way. I think kind of for I guess maybe our generation, that Dark Castle run from the late 90s to kind of mid-aughts was like, it was like they were major studio big budget horror movies that were really kind of fun. And now that they're kind of rebranded as an indie studio doing much smaller projects, I think it's kind of a good, I don't know, I hope they kind of are able to keep that sense of fun that their original films had. Seance is their first new movie under this kind of new structure. So
I did some of those junkets back in the 2000s and stuff. So yeah, well, your film Seance, I guess the pitch could be mean girls summon a killer ghost at a private school. Is that a good pitch?
Yeah, I'd say that's about right. Yeah.
And, private school, seniors playing with the spirit of a dead student. It's just Camille's first date was a memorable one, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, I like characters that just show up and dive right in. I mean, Seance is intentionally kind of a bit of a slow burn. It's kind of trying to be a cozy slasher, in the terms of like how its mystery unfolds and such. But I like characters that are just inherently interesting in any dynamic, from their first scene onward. And, Suki Waterhouse is the kind of actor who, is just going to kind of stand out anyway in a scene. So it's better to just like give her something crazy to do. And that way, it kind of makes sense that she's off, having kind of her own adventure.
And that English accent really classes up the movie. It really sets her character apart from everybody else, which I thought was a real addition to the movie.
Yeah, that's pretty much Suki's natural speaking voice, as the character Camille Meadows or whatever. We talked a lot about kind of various accents, and ultimately I thought it just kind of felt better that she play it like more like herself, and also it kind of made the character feel like more of an outsider if her and Carrie were like from Europe or something. Ironically, then you have Ella Ray Smith, who is doing an American accent, and all kinds of like various, like everyone else is kind of shaping. And Megan Best, a Canadian, is doing a bit of a British accent in her opening scene to kind of mingle the two.
International cast we got going on.
yeah, it's basically a Canadian film we have like one American actor in the movie, Madison Beatty, and that was pretty much it for Americans on set. Line producer Connie Hoy, production designer Marlena Fury, and everyone else was Canadian or British.
I like how Seance you didn't waste any time, flickering lights, claws on the wooden floor. And you get the mood going right away. You don't make us wait 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I mean, instantly you established the mood right away, which I liked.
Well, as long as you consider flickering lights and scratching on the floor at like things happening, you'll be happy with Seance, No, because it's true. Like it dives into the atmosphere, but then, I like films that can kind of set an atmosphere, set kind of a creepy scenario. In the case of Seance, we know the new girl's moving into the dormitory room of the girl who just died. We know the girl who just died under mysterious circumstances. So already, the atmosphere has that tension. And, from there, I love films that can kind of explore that feeling, that kind of that suspense, I guess, if you will. I mean, Seance is not trying to be a particularly intense film in its experience, but I really love those kind of moody old-fashioned kind of ghost stories myself.
And I love the character of Trevor and the school headmistress. Kind of a Norman Bates vibe going on with those two, wasn't it?
Yeah, actually, I mean, pretty much. It's definitely cinematic shorthand. Seamus Patterson, who plays Trevor, he's from Channel Zero, and I got really lucky that I was able to cast him. He really got the humor of the character. And Marina Kerr, who played the headmistress, his mother, also, I think, really, the two of them, I think, figured out exactly how to play it. And we're not, the great thing about Seance is, with a lot of young actors, sometimes, they have the tendency to just want to look cool, or, they're really just concerned about how cool they're going to look sometimes playing a character. No one in Seance was worried about appearing foolish. Like, everyone got kind of the humor of the movie and how the humor was going to be kind of subtly layered in, and allowed their performances to be totally straightforward, but a little bit ridiculous, which I really enjoy.
And those creepy masks they made for the theater, is there a story behind those design, being the director choosing what the masks were going to look like? Or
the story behind those design is we had 4 weeks of prep in Winnipeg, and there was like apparently one guy in Winnipeg who kind of made masks, and we had like a couple days to get them done. And one day I went into my production designer's office, and she said, "Here are the 2 masks." And I said, "Oh, okay." And which isn't to say that I was like unhappy. It just, we didn't really have a whole lot of time to design that. The thing about the masks, again, I feel bad that I can't cite the gentleman who actually designed them. It was done through Marlena Feehery and kind of her whole art department. But a thing that, even from Your Next onward, I always wanted the kind of killer masks to feel realistic to the characters that would have made the masks or designed the masks. I'm taken out of a film if a killer mask feels too art designed. It doesn't feel, if it feels like I don't even understand where this killer got this mask, like, did they buy it off Etsy for like $100? Like, it looks great. Like I want the mask to always look like someone actually, could make them and wear them. So, I really just wanted the idea of like a paper mache mask that you'd make of your face in theater tech, and then it would come out looking nothing like you or anyone.
Boy, did those masks, I know they looked like nothing. They were just look like someone made them in 5th grade.
Yeah, but they are original to the film. It's it's like we made them based on photographic images of Stephanie Sy and Jade Michael, playing the characters of Yvonne and Lenora, and it was kind of designed to be their 2 masks, since for whatever reason they just felt like the 2 characters who would lose their masks first and allow the killer to kind of confuse the issues and disguise themselves with that. So I'm really happy with how they turned out, but it was also just a complete like I had a vision, and those masks aren't quite it, but at the same time I'm really happy with them.
Is there a story behind the incantation that they do to summon the ghost? Is there a specific meaning? Is it really Latin, or is it just something the screenwriter made up? Or
it's screenwriter made up, like Pidgin Latin combined from like Googling like Aramaic and Latin and just like cribbing together a bunch of things that sounded to me pretty good. If you actually had anyone translate that incantation, I think it amounts to nonsense. There's some stuff that's like, spirits rise up to us. There's some standard stuff in there, but it was funny because I told Anana Sarkis, I think, I was just like, "Oh yeah, this is a real incantation that I found." Like, here, just take just say it, so she'd be a little spooked out, because that was fun. That was fun for her performance, and and because she had just also had to say it again and again and again, and her character wouldn't have memorized it, so she got to have it written down in front of her. But
it's a movie called Seance, Simon, and I was kind of disappointed there was no crystal ball.
Well, we can only do, the movie's got like 3 seances in it. You can only do so many seances. We do a mirror seance, and then we do a writing device seance. I don't know, with some of that stuff with a crystal ball, I don't think I could have afforded that, to be honest with you.
Some yard sales before shooting, though, maybe, right?
Maybe, but yeah. Well, then we did VHS 94 up in Canada just recently, and that was done during COVID, so I couldn't shop for any props. Everything then literally had to be like bought off, like weird websites, and people are like sharing stuff, and so it's always a challenge. So crystal ball, that's above me.
It's up there. I found amusing that here we are at this elite private school. There's no teachers around, there's no janitors, there's nothing. And so all these murders are happening, and we only see the students and maybe the headmistress once in a while. I'm like, where are all the people that populate this school? So I found that, I love that as the humor of the film.
The truth of the matter is, that wasn't really intended to be the humor of the film. I pretty much, I had a lot of extras, but because of the way we shot the movie, where we weren't actually able to film on a real school and we were cobbling things together from a bunch of different kind of fake locations, it was actually kind of hard to fill those spaces with extras, because you end up just shooting down a lot of hallways. And then if you have extras just kind of walking up and down the hallways, it's honestly more just distracting than anything else, and it can also make continuity kind of a challenge. And if you're always working with movement vis-a-vis the actors in the foreground, and you have character, but I mean, literally the hallways are so narrow that if you have extras walking down them, they'll have to move the actors to the side to go past them. So honestly, there's just a lot of scenes where I was like, I would try to figure out in the minutes allotted to me before we had to start rolling to move on with, like, to make sure that we could get the day. I tried to kind of figure out how to pack more extras
director.
in, and I could never really figure out where they'd be going, because there wasn't a full hallway behind them or anything.
Thinking logistics and all of that, you're a true director.
Yeah, well, I mean, I actually kind of genuinely would have liked to put as many extras on screen as possible. But once I realized I wasn't going to be able to, then I realized I did have to embrace a somewhat sparse look. And that's when I did embrace the, like, if you see teachers or students walking around, it's just like 2 or 3 of them at a time. So that it does feel like it's more small class and understaffed, and, or you're seeing the school while class is in session and stuff. I mean, it's a small movie. What can I say? I mean, extras.
Of course, no, it looks great. Trust me, it's fabulous. I mean, I had a good time with it. And finally today, do you have a favorite moment in the film? One of the favorite deaths, or one of the staging? I'll tell you mine real quick. Was when the ceiling light came down and just hit her. That was so great. I wasn't expecting the whole light to come down and swing like a pendulum and just knock her down. That was my favorite moment.
That's my homage to not only, of course, the work of Gareth Evans, but the Wesley Snipes film Drop Zone.
Nice.
That was actually so. She clung to the light and was strangling Bethany with her legs, and then when the light pulled out, it actually hit Camille on the head, knocking her out, and Bethany's kind of been choked out. So that's how they both end up on the ground unconscious. I wasn't actually able to achieve that. So the way I restaged it, working with Kareem in our special effects department, and BJ, our stunt guy, and his whole team there, we came up with a new gag about a couple weeks out, and then it was that. So I'm glad you like that. My favorite scene in the movie, honestly, I think is probably Yvonne's dance sequence, because it was like the only scene I got to like kind of enjoy filming. I'd always loved that song, and I'd worked with Stephanie Sy and Brenda Gorman up in Canada to kind of they'd really constructed, choreographed is the word I'm looking for, a great dance routine based on that piece of music. So that was like the only time on set that I actually, things were just going purely well, because I was just filming someone dancing, and I was filming someone's dancing who really had it down, and so I actually got to add shots rather than subtracting them from my original plan from a scene. Like usually on a film like this, you kind of are just like, what's the bare minimum of shots that I'm going to need to make this scene work, and I'll be lucky if I can get that. But with that scene, I actually we had like 4 hours to shoot that scene, and she got it instantly in one. And so honestly, I really like that scene, because I was able to cover it properly. And also that's just the kind of scene that like I'd like to do more of. I just like working kind of with movement and stuff like that as a director a little bit. I think my primary influences are kind of martial arts cinema and stuff. So I really like the dance. I like that there's a dance scene in the movie, and so that's my favorite scene.
It was great setup in that scene too. So, well, congratulations on Seance, Simon. Great. It was a fun thriller, and streaming on Shudder.com. And we'll talk again soon, man. So come visit us in Las Vegas too. We'd love to have you.
I do love Las Vegas. Someday soon, I hope. All right. Thank you so much.